Today I will be just walking through my Redstone computer, what it does, and how it works. So first I'm going to do a little showcase. So first let me speed up the game because it takes a long time. Let me show you how long it takes. It's a notepad, by the way. It draws. Forgot to say that. Anyways, still not there. There we go. Okay. So that's why I'm going to speed up the game. So tick rate 400 probably. Okay. So the first thing is this notepad. All it does is you can draw and it goes on the screen. So say I draw a big cube and big cube. Okay. So now I'm gonna draw something, right? I'm gonna draw a little display HUD, right? So as you can see, we have this display HUD, and I don't want to accidentally lose this. I don't want to accidentally mess up my drawing. So if I click this, it saves it. So now even if I turn these off, they'll stay on. But if I go to these and I turn them on, I can still, if that makes any sense. So now the pixels. Okay, sorry, that was broken. So now the pixels, they will stay on, always. No matter what I do, they will always stay on. So it's kind of just frozen in time. But I can still activate these ones. And then when we disable it, everything updates, and whatever I changed, changes. So, yeah. Now, the second thing, if I turn this on, you'll see a 1 appear on the screen. I can click this, a 2, a 3, a 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So it counts up to 99, 2 digits, because I can't fit a third one. Now, let's disable it, goes through a sequence, and now it's time to explain all of this somehow. So the first thing is, the most important thing is, these LEDs right here, all of this. So this is an 8x8 grid, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, it's an 8x8 grid. And I'm going to show you how all of these work. So we have a little demonstration here. Let me change my tick rate back to normal. Okay, so as you can see, there is 2 redstone torches powering 2 blocks, which then, in turn, powers these, right? So, this stuff, okay. Anyway, so this affects this, and affects these blocks, which then affect these. So, all 4. Anyways, so then these redstone torches turn these off, and how they do that is this redstone torch powers this redstone repeater, which then turns that one off, and this redstone torch powers this redstone repeater and powers this redstone. So the reason we have it like this is so that it's stackable, right? It doesn't affect anything around it, because then if we want to do this again beside it, we would have it like this, right? So that's not going to get affected, right? If we have another one of these beside, no redstone can affect that. So we can have another one like this, and no redstone is going to affect it. So even if this is off or on, nothing's going to change. So that's the pixels, right? And I have an 8x8 grid of them, as I said. And then this blue line, it just kind of expands it, so it's wider apart. So it just goes out. So each signal just goes out, and it goes out less and less each time, making it wider and wider. So we have this, and this pink line does the exact same thing, but on the top. It goes, or up and down, sorry, not the top. It goes up and down, so it splits them even more. Now, this kind of gets complicated, so I have another demonstration, a redstone little demonstration. So, first of all, okay, it did not copy all over. You know, let's just put in the 2 redstone lines. Okay, there we go. So now we have this, and if we turn this on, it goes through and it powers this, which then in turn would go through to this, powering this, turning the pixel on. So the reason why it's not just directly connected straight to this is because we also have that saving thing, locking, freezing it in time. So what we do is we power this on, which then locks this repeater, so nothing can go through if it wasn't before. But the reason why we have this up is because, say it was on before, and we lock it, Now, this pixel is locked forever. It's always going to be on, but this one is locked off, but we want to still be able to change it even though it's off. So we have this separate redstone line running above and over, so it can go over and still turn on or off. So you can still change the other pixels even though this one is locked. So it just locks the on ones, and you can still change the off ones. That is all it does. Okay, so this little line right here has a observer that goes into a block to power a copper bulb that then in turn powers a comparator that locks the repeater, and then it powers a dropper at the same time, powering an observer, repeating the actions. So the reason why we have a block here powering this and not just the dropper itself is because I'm pretty sure I was running into some problems where it would power, like, I can't remember it. I think that it would power the block, like this observer right here, or the dropper I mean, and then it would, like, yeah, I can't remember it. I can't think of it. I don't know. Something was wrong with it though, so I just changed it to this. Anyways, so let's go up. Now I want to talk about all of these observers and what they do. So we do have this screen, which I will talk about after and what that does and why it's there. But anyways, let's just go through to these lines and observers. So it's the notepad. As you can see, let's go through this line right here and see where it goes. So an observer detects when you hit the note block. It goes all the way down, right? And then it goes through and it turns 90 degrees, so it faces that way now. So then it splits up. So at the same time it's turning, it's splitting up, so it's wider apart instead of all condensed like this. And then it goes through and it splits up again so that it's again wider, so it's kind of a grid now, like this. I don't know if you can see that. It's kind of a grid. And then it just goes into separate lines, which then travels it over to these. So this bottom one, it comes through to here, it goes all the way through here, and then to these observers, which it goes up, and then we have to detect this, and then go over here, and it powers the bottom one. And then the next one goes up even further, it goes around, it powers this. So this was kind of hard to figure out because I had to go around and not straight through because I still needed to power all of these. So it slowly goes up until it's at the top and it just goes straight into it. So now you may be wondering, well, what were all of these yellow lines and all the redstone on top? Well, that's what I'm about to tell you, so just calm down, buddy. But what that does, or what that is this, all of this stuff. So first, let's look at this, which is the counter for our image. So as you can see, I'll go down here to show a representation. So first of all, we have this lever, which if flicked, then it activates the whole machine, or else any signal can kind of just pass through and nothing will happen. But this turns on, now it's in, I don't know, it's ready. So we click this and it counts up 1. So it releases this for a second while also putting this through, so it powers this block on. And okay, anyways. So now it powers this on, which you may think, why is there all this stuff? Why isn't just a bunch of simple lines? Well, I'll show you why. So you power it on again, it counts up again. Now it's this line. But this line turned it off because we need it to turn off because we only want one at a time. So now we have this, which as you can see, it goes through and it powers this torch, which then powers this torch. And the reason why we have 2 torches and over here is because from this line we power this torch off, because if we don't, then both of them will be active. So from this line, if we power the second torch off, then this will turn off and this will be on. So then if we go to the next one, the exact same thing happens where this one turns on, this one turns off, right? So if I disable this and I make it not turn off, then both of them would be on, but that wouldn't be good, right? So if we have absolutely nothing stopping them, then everything would be on. And if everything was on, I'll show you what that would look like. I'll give you a 1 and a 2 and a 3 all combined. It is a weird, wonky looking flipped 6 or something. I don't know. It's weird. Okay. So now we can just power all these on. Also, another way to do this is having everything power on kind of differently, where it's like binary, but we are not going to get into that. Okay, well that would be sections. Anyways, so now all of these are powered individually And this, you count up 1, it goes into 1, 2, 3, and it shows it on screen with the next thing, the image ROM. And this is going to explain those green things right there. So the image ROM is, I think a lot of people have seen this, where you have a redstone torch and it is powered on, so it turns on the screen. Okay, so then it goes up. So this is 1. So a bunch of these torches go up and they turn on all of these, which make it a 1, and I can show you that. So when this is deactivated, because this is activated, so it's deactivated, now it shows a 1, because all of these get turned on, right? But then it's deactivated again, so it's activated. So these redstone torches just flip it. So this is a 2. It's just redstone torches here that when get deactivated, and here and here, and when it gets deactivated, it shows a big 2, okay? But then when it gets deactivated, I don't know what to say it. I don't know. Okay. Anyway, so it just does that for every single one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so, or no, 9 is here, 0 is here. So the next thing we'll be talking about is 0, because it goes through all of them, and then it goes to 0. And when it gets to 0, it has to add another number onto the other clock. So say you're counting through, okay, you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then what's next? 10. So it adds a 1 here, and it goes to 0 here, right? But because the 0 isn't at the start, which I feel like I should have done it that way, it's actually at the end. This is what we do. So we power this all the way over here, which then on the other side we have the exact same thing. So it can count up to 9, no 0 on this one. There would be if we had 3 digits, but we don't. So we have this, which counts up, and then it counts up again, and every time you hit a 0, it goes over, it detects it, and counts up 1. So every time we go through 0, right? But then what it does is it also goes through here, and if this is pushed on, which I'll tell you what happens when it is, then this line will go through, and it'll turn this redstone torch, I think it's usually off, so it'll turn it off, which it usually is. It's usually on, right? But I'll turn it off for a certain amount of time until everything is done, right? Done, yeah. Everything is unloaded, say. Like, that happens when we turn this off, because the redstone torch stops powering all this, and it kind of just goes through. So that'll happen. But for that to happen, a button has to be pressed so we can go on to the next number at the same time. So it goes through, and then a pulse extender happens, or whatever. It's here, so it can extend the pulse long enough for everything to drain out. And then once everything is drained out, it starts at 1 again, because it detects when everything drains out, and then it goes through, so it's at 1, and it's not just empty. So now we have everything. We have the counter, but what are all these lines? Well, these lines are just making sure everything stays off when this right here, everything stays off when this is off. So it turns this on, which then, first of all, it turns this off, which doesn't allow the button to be pressed, the button signal to go through. And then it also it allows, when it turns on, this to go through, which then in turn starts the clock and starts it at 1. And then it also allows this to be on, which then pushes this and activates it. It starts it. And then it pushes this, I think, yeah, it pushes this through to do something. I forget what it was, but it was important. I don't know what it does anymore. Kind of forgot. I think it was to detect something. Anyways, doesn't matter. So that's the whole counter. And then this magenta line just goes through and makes sure that this also can't go through, because okay, if this is here, it activates it. So then if a pulse is there, so it just makes sure that this is off, right? So then this button, it just goes through, brown line, it does the pulse extender, and it activates this and starts counting up. That's all that brown line is. It's just a button to there. So now that is everything, right? This yellow line is just straight to here, which is a bunch of pistons that activate these observers. I think I already showed that. I don't know. Anyways, that's everything. An 8x8 display with a counter function and a drawing function with a saving function. So, I mean, that's it. I just want to show my redstone build and everything how it works. So, I don't know, maybe you can recreate one. And if you do, send me the world. Send me the world. Just put it in the comments if you do, and I'll tell you my Discord, and you can send me the world through there, my Discord server. All right. Well, that is everything. So, show me your builds again. Bye. Bye.